Fire everybody.
That's
Burn it
usually,
to the ground.
It's usually a solution in college
Start
football
over,
now.
dude. I want Trent Bray. Let's go hire him. He's available. Actually, James Franklin's available. We can go get him. You want that guy?
You want to replace the guy that just beat Franklin with the guy that can't
Fireball!
beat Thank you to Casey looking this up. Now, there's a little bit of a stipulation here, but I'm just going to read the stat because I don't want Casey to waste his entire day having to look this up. So Casey's crack research found the last time the Ducks at home lost and scored one offensive touchdown, October 7th, 2017, Cougs came in, waxed Braxton Burmeister and company, 33-10.
That was the one Willie Taggart season that happened. Swag surf, moment in time that we'll never forget. And Herbert had broken his collarbone against Cal, and they went on a stretch there where they were the worst football team to watch in the entire country because Braxton Burmeister could not complete a pass. Yeah, that's burned into my brain. So that's a good reminder of but that's also the caveat of that was a backup quarterback. So in terms of this, you didn't have a backup quarterback playing this weekend. You had your starting quarterback in, who was near the top of the Heisman odds going into the weekend.
Well, to be fair, Dirt, he was the backup last year.
Aha, yes, he was. He was behind Dylan Gabriel.
Ducks next two, I think, are certainly going to line up for them to right some of the wrongs they had this weekend. They're also not going to take a team as talented as Indiana on in the next 2 weeks with at Rutgers, which is a late kick East Coast, so that allows their clocks to settle a little bit. And then they're home hosting the worst team in the Big Ten now, Wisconsin, then it's a bye. So I think the next 2 weeks they'll be able to right some of this, but it's when you lose these huge top-ranked matchups, it's just what the sport has conditioned us with, right? Beating Rutgers and Wisconsin, people are going to feel a little better, but they're not going to be like, whoa, I forgot about the Indiana game. These are the games that stick in your mind. Here was Lanning in the postgame on their lack of offensive production.
Yeah, it felt like they had the pin last. They had extra hats at the point of attack. And then in situations where we're having to throw for it, they did a great job defending the sticks. They were aggressive. Again, I think they're really well coached. They won the 50-50 balls. Some of those are really close as far as connection and how tight they are in coverage, but they did a good job being tight in coverage. We were trying to take the top off a couple times. They did a good job of being on top when we had those moments.
I also thought this was good. He just, he credited Indiana, first of all, at the top. I'm not going to play the clip, but he started his everything with credit to them. They played better than us. We got out-coached. He felt and fully accepted responsibility for it. He then talked about their plan falling kind of short against Indiana.
Yeah, ultimately, I don't think our plan was great. At times we played well defensively. We had some short fields, but ultimately we didn't stop the run when it mattered most. We got to have a better plan to stop the run there at the end of the game. Didn't do a good job contesting balls, defensively. Third down, we weren't good on offense, and we got to be able to avoid, third down. We had some positive runs on certain schemes, and then there were some really negative runs. You can't take negatives against a team like this. Tempo, we didn't handle well. I thought they handled our tempo extremely well on offense, excluding the early touchdown pass there to Malik. But they had some good tempo answers for us that we didn't have great answers, for what they were doing. Their pitches were better than our pitches, and ultimately that's something we can improve.
So he kind of, in a way, it seems like he kind of disagrees with maybe your thoughts of the run game, because he mentioned the run game kind of being taken out a little bit there and credits Indiana. And he also talked about tempo, which is
I didn't remember a lot of other times that they went to tempo. Yeah, and watching back the game, it felt like it was that one drive and that one drive only.
Yeah, because I'm not going to – the last drive was the garbage to garbage time. It was over. Indiana had conceded, we're going to win this game. You can have the ball. Here you go.
Well, and to be fair, too, they had some 3 and outs where you can't really use tempo when you go 3 and out.
Well, and I think that's the other thing is, I guess I would be more curious, and we'll see what he says today, how you define what tempo is, because the one tempo play he had the deep pass to Benson.
It was the only offensive touchdown of the game. They went tempo on that drive.
And I want to make sure I have this right, because I noted this. After that touchdown, I think he had 3 or 4 passes the rest of the game that went past 10 yards.
It was a screen machine, dude.
Yes.
Check down a screen machine.
Little 4-yard, 3-yard dumps, and Indiana wanted him to do that, and it was instant stopping and offense being taken out. I just, look, this doesn't change how I feel about him. As we've noted a million times, he's such a young coach, and everything's been great.
It's the first time he's lost a regular season game in almost 2 years.
Yeah, touche. Yeah, this is his first Big Ten loss in the regular season.
This is the first conference loss.
I think these are the moments of, teachable moments internally for that staff, and then God, you just look at the other side and you go, dude, that guy was unbelievable and what he has built in such a short time at a program like Indiana. He's such a good story. Like, it took him 20 years.
Oh, it's an incredible
to even
story.
Get a head coaching gig, let alone a job of this caliber.
And it's Indiana. It's not even that good of a caliber job. It's not like he took over some like sleeping giant that had been dormant for 10 years and now they're back, like a Tennessee or a Nebraska. He's at a place that's literally number one.
This is just such a tough sport because you're allotted multiple losses now and it's still given grace to be in an expanded playoff era. But these are the moments that people will take away and talk and finger point about coaching. The coaching Saturday was easily on the sideline of Indiana.
It's not even a debate. It wasn't even close. In every phase of the game, Indiana was better. In every aspect of coaching, Indiana was better in that football game. I do chuckle at some of the reaction when I think of people saying that regular season games don't matter anymore. And it does, we used to live and die with this every weekend and these losses meant everything. And now it doesn't mean as much as it used to. It's like, dude, go dive into Duck Twitter right now and tell me that these games don't matter. After 2 weeks ago, you're barking on your floor and in double overtime win over Penn State, living and dying with every play. And then this weekend, you feel like the sky's falling and your team's never going to win a game again. Like, yeah, the regular season games still matter and we still react to them.
You don't want to be a bad seed. That's the other part is you don't want your seeding in the bracket.
After last year, they were the 1 seed and lost the first game. So maybe if you get in and you're a back half seed, you're feeling better.
I
don't know,
though,
dude. No doubt about it. Look, the last time Oregon played for a national championship, what did they do in October? They lost the game at home in October to Arizona. They wore pink helmets, and Arizona came to town on a weeknight and beat them.
Was that the 3-touchdown guarantee by you on the air?
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was, and it didn't go well. And then they got Arizona again in the Pac-12 title game, and they beat them by 70 points. So. Like, these things happen, man. Like, I do think it's important to take a deep breath. There's no doubt there are things that now we can watch and key on of, like, will this improve? Are there blueprints out there for teams that they feel like they can expose you? I don't know what the answer to that is because I don't think you're going to play a team that defensively – I guess maybe Iowa should deserve that credit, but Iowa doesn't have an offense with a pulse. So
mine is now USC. When I look at the Duck schedule, I go
no
USC
doubt about it
because they were good Saturday. They're at home, I know, and that's different. But
I just don't think USC has the horses on defense to do what Indiana did to you. I just don't. I don't think that they do. I think USC's defense is still a major question mark, despite looking good against Underwood this weekend, and I certainly didn't see them winning the game the way that they did. Washington's defense does not scare me. So, like, coming out of this game, I didn't have that many issues with the defense. They could have been cleaner in some areas. The weakness for them is the linebacker spot. It continues to be the weakness for them. I didn't think they played a great game in any way.
Mixon's missed tackle.
Mixon missing tackles. You had Devin Jackson commit the deep pass interference at the end of the half that handed him the 3-point. Well, the guy made a 60-yarder, so he didn't hand him anything, but he earned it. But that was still a bad DPI, and Betcher has a lot of tackles, but there's times that he seems lost in run fits and isn't great at times in coverage. So linebacker continues to be a weakness. But you get, like, if I told you on Friday, Indiana's offense has maybe the number 1 pick at quarterback and 2 legit NFL wide receivers, that you were going to hold them to 326 total yards of offense, you're feeling pretty good. They were averaging like 550 yards or whatever it was. Like,
okay, so here's my counter to a couple things. One, on that part, I thought about that too, and I'm like, well, how much of that number is bigger if you're having quicker drives? It felt like their MO was, we not only want to help our defense, we are going to consume the football, right? The time of possession seemed to be a pretty big factor for them. We talk about their 2 drives in the second half minus the pick 6.
It was boom or bust for them in the second half. They had 3-and-out, touchdown, pick 6, touchdown.
Now,
like, it was just,
I have to go bring up what those drives were, but when they
were
scored
all
those touchdowns,
75 yards, I know that.
75-yard, clock eating, like it was. I think that's the thing is, I don't know how much I can look at those numbers per se and say.
They went 9 plays, 75 yards in 4 minutes and 50 seconds, and they went 12 plays, 75 yards in 6 minutes and 19
That's
seconds.
10 minutes of clock time. That's pretty good. So I think more for them, it wasn't so much the total yardage. It was limit that Oregon offense as much as we can from being on the field, help our defense be rested.
Oh, sure.
And eat all of that clock up. I think that's the only thing I would counter on that point.
Some of the numbers can be misleading, there's no doubt. But also the defense came out in the start of the second half when you're trailing 13-10, and they got back-to-back 3-and-outs.
The defense gave them their
3 of the first 4 drives in the second half for Oregon's defense were 3-and-out, and pick 6.
There might not be a perfect defense. The takeaway for me is the Oregon offense.
That's the concern.
And so here is what I would say, and we're way over it, and we're going to have to get to some thoughts here. I want to read listener thoughts. This is what I would say, too. I agree that you're not going to maybe find a defense as talented, and I don't know how much we were talking about that talent per se in the general but I do wonder now how much of the blueprint, and it's easy to have a blueprint and not be able to follow said blueprint.
Yeah, if you don't have
you
the
given
dudes.
the Washingtons, the USCs, maybe the Iowas, which is going to be a road game.
For sure.
That's what I would kind of wonder is what they did.
It's on Oregon now to find answers to whatever they were
to that. Yeah.
And it's on Dante Moore to trust himself. Like there were moments that I felt like he kind of lost his confidence early in the game.
He looked a little defeated.
He looked rattled,
yeah.
and there's times as a quarterback where you just got to stand in there and take the heat and deliver the football.
How much of his injury do you think played a factor too in the
hit,
second half? Because he got
hobbled.
banged up pretty bad.
He said after the game he's fine, but he's not going to tell you that he's hurt if he is hurt, and Lanning's not going to tell you that either. So they were all saying that he was fine, but he took a shot low and was kind of limping a little bit in the second half of that game. They didn't utilize any of the quarterback run game, which they used a ton against Penn State. None of the +1 run game with Dante Moore just carrying the football and design
Mendoza's runs came in clutch, too. We talked about that last
killed
week.
them in the back end where he was pulling it on his own read and everybody was collapsing down. And so there's a lot of little things that you can clean up. There is a blueprint out there to be able to stop them, but is Oregon able to find the adjustments that they need for that blueprint? And does anybody, even if they have the blueprint, have the horses defensively to run it the same way Indiana did?
A lot of blueprint chatter. What is this, Oregon State?
You got a blueprint? We got a blueprint.
Get it? Because they give a lot of money to an NIL company?